took my time to ask an AI app what the future of artificial intelligence is in this generation and the ethical considerations in responsible artificial intelligence. Here's what the result was, and that will be my introduction for today's show. Now, it says responsible AI starts with ethical considerations. As AI becomes more sophisticated and autonomous, it's crucial to ensure that it aligns with human values and does not cause harm. Now, this includes addressing issues like bias in AI algorithm, privacy concerns, and the potential of AI to exacerbate existing social inequalities. Companies and organizations developing AI technologies must prioritize ethical considerations and human rights. Now, this means that implementing fairness and transparency in AI systems, ensuring data privacy and security, and promoting diversity as well as inclusion in AI development teams. Now, when we're looking at the veracity of AI or the efficiency of AI, we know that there is no question. But the question here is, how far is too far? What is responsible artificial intelligence? Now, AI has become an integral part of our daily lives, from virtual assistants like Siri and Alexa to recommendation systems on streaming platforms and on social media. With rapid advancement in technology, the future of AI holds endless possibilities, but it also raises important questions about ethics, accountability, and transparency. Responsible AI is the key to ensuring that the benefits of artificial intelligence are maximized while minimizing potential risks and, of course, negative impact on the society. So today we'll be taking a look at responsible artificial intelligence. And to help us have that conversation, I'm joined by two gentlemen in this field. I'm talking about none other than, first we have Ndu Ekomadu, the founder and CEO, Brand Drive, Abuja, Nigeria. Thank you so much, Mr. Ekomadu, for joining us.
Thanks. Great to be on the show.
All right, it's great to have you on the show as well. And we also have with us Nwagwo Praise Chukwuwike, a software engineer, tech enthusiast from Delta State. Thank you so much, Mr. Chukwuwike, for joining us as well.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you join us as well. Gentlemen, we're going to go straight to the conversation. We're talking about responsible AI. Like I said in my introduction, there's no question of the efficiency of artificial intelligence. I think the concern now will be how far AI will go, how deep it will penetrate into the system, and most importantly, what the ethical considerations are in terms of AI's functionality. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Ekomadu. What would you say are the key ethical considerations when developing and deploying AI technologies?
First, I think the most important thing is to understand artificial intelligence as a whole. You can't guide, build, or develop policies around certain things without understanding it. So it's very important for the ecosystem as a whole or the community as a whole to be able to get very well educated around artificial intelligence, understand the uses, the modalities around how we can help push the boundaries of solutions across the system, but more importantly, understand the dangers. Education will play a very huge role, but more importantly, a very important part that can help the ethical consideration is staying informed. So being educated is one thing, and also staying informed around what happens within the artificial intelligence community, understand the boundaries, but more importantly, setting the policies head on while these things are being developed, especially because it's a growing ecosystem. So putting the policies in place as it's scaling and growing is very important. And that can really help us to make sure we put the right ethical considerations.
Right. Thank you so much for that. Now, Mr. Chukwuwike, how would you say that responsible artificial intelligence can address the issues of bias and the issues of discrimination in the AI algorithms?
All right. Thank you very much. I think the issue about responsible AI and the biases around the algorithm, I think the simple solution for me is for Africans to begin to build AI solutions. Like my colleague said, around regulations for education, getting people to understand what this technology is, the dangers and all of that. If Africans begin to build AI, we'll build it with the African value in mind. We'll talk to the big guys that are handling the AI that we have currently to take some bias of the system to accommodate the Africans. But in the long run, we would have to, build our own AIs. We have to build AIs that are seated on African value. We have to build AIs that solves our problems, AIs that think like the way we think in Africa, not AIs that we expose us to certain dangers that will take our jobs and all of that. We build AI for social good. Yeah, that's how I see it.
Right. Okay. Also, Mr. Ekwomadu, in what ways can artificial intelligence technologies be leveraged to enhance human capabilities in various industries?
I think top of mind, I would talk about three major ones. The first would be within agriculture. AI would definitely push the boundaries of what agriculture can do. First of all, to help things like improving the precision to farming techniques, yield optimization, pest control, crop rotation and cultivation. But more importantly, it would help us in a time where food sustainability and food production is a huge deal within various economies. So AI will push the boundaries of being able to track data, understand better ways to be able to manufacture and produce food to basically keep sustainability of life. Another very important way, I think, would be within the development and engineering space. There's a growing need for people to design, develop, and deploy artificial intelligence solutions and applications across the world today. And this is not just unique to Africa. And what it means is it's important for people to tap into that availability or that potential opportunity to be able to build applications for natural language algorithm processing or machine learning techniques that give people the ability to build AI applications or AI solutions that can feature across industries. But more importantly, the ability for AI to play a huge role within the fintech and financial space, from the ability to improve trading, credit score, the ability for people to basically have AI basically analyze financial processes to improve decision making. That plays a very huge role. And people who are entrepreneurs or young individuals who basically tap into this ecosystem or be able to capitalize on this and build this kind of solutions can have a very strong leverage on building human capital.
Right. Mr. Chukwuike, we've talked about the advantages of AI time and time again, but what potential risks and challenges does the future of artificial intelligence present, and how can that be mitigated, especially on the African continent?
All right, thank you very much. No doubt that we have fears around the artificial intelligence and the growth of it. So basically, there are three levels to artificial intelligence. We have the simple ones, like the generative AI, the rest of them. And then we have the artificial general intelligence, which is like the strong AI, which is the one that the world is really afraid of, the one that can literally, where machines can literally think as humans and take decisions on their own without the assistance of a human. So basically that's where the trouble is, where machines can take their decisions on their own. We'll have a world of chaos if machines are completely taking decisions and doing things completely on their own.
Of course.
They can think, they can put things together on their own. So I think the issue as it concerns the African space is not just an issue of policy or regulation. It's an issue of the government within this space to embrace this technology, invest in it, and sort of ensure that when these technologies are built for the African context, I think that's my passion, to see that these technologies are built in and have the African values inculcated in them, such that we can be sure of the technologies we are using, because obviously the AIs that will come from these big techs will certainly come with biases that may not actually favor our culture as it were. So I think basically government investing in it and then ensuring that these things are built with the African values in mind. Thank you.
Right. Mr. Ekwomadu, how can we say that AI will be used for social good, especially in addressing global challenges? For example, climate change. in Africa. In Nigeria now, it's really hot, and I think every Nigerian can testify to that. And of course, talking about healthcare infrastructure as well, and the inequalities that persist in these different sectors. How can it be used for global good? Okay, while we wait for Mr. Undu to join, Mr. Chukwueke, do you want to jump on that?
Yeah, sure.
You understood by.
Okay, apologies, Mr. Komadu, do you want to go ahead?
Okay, sorry, I lost you for a minute. So I think one of the most important things for us to look at is the economic benefits that AI can drive within the ecosystem. So before we even look at across other industries like healthcare or even food, right? From an economic standpoint, the ability to utilize artificial intelligence to gain more insight around market intelligence for businesses is key. Because then we can be able to understand what works, what doesn't work, how better can we improve certain methods, how specific strategies. You have a lot of economics and policies and strategies that are put in place, but how do you basically look at the data and analyze over time what kind of things have been put in place, or what kind of things have been done that can have a specific advantage to the economy, specifically unique to a particular settlement or locality or community or country as a whole. So first of all, being able to use AI to analyze data is a very huge deal. But how we can be able to make that effect is, first of all, my colleague here said one very important thing, which is we need to build. You cannot gain results from things that you don't invest in or things you don't build. So we as a community, as Africa, as Nigeria as a whole, we need to make sure we are specifically investing into developing, same way you're having these things play out on a global level. From there, we can be able to look into how can we be able to diversify these solutions into specific industry. And this can really save lives. This can basically improve the way of life, improve processes, but more importantly, the convenience of doing a lot of things. This can drastically make a lot of improved growth in GDPs or improved life in terms of everyday living for individuals. So I think the first thing is we need to build. Once we start building, it becomes a lot more easier for us to start fusing in this thing into our everyday life and policies. For example, when we look at the way users have maybe adapted into the likes of streaming, that wasn't basically what was the go-to every single day. But at some point, streaming technology came into place, and basically it looks like, oh, it's a walk in the park. It's what happens every single day. Same would happen with the internet. So that's the same way everyone needs to understand and look at AI. It needs to be something we need to consciously invest in, build, and make sure that we can be able to tap into the solutions that these resources can give us, basically.
Right. Thank you for that. Mr. Chukwueke, you wanted to say something to that, but before, let me just add this question as well. Considering the roles that the government need to play now, in what way can they come in? Talking about the government and the regulatory bodies, in what ways can they come in to play a role in setting standards for AI ethics and accountability? This is me just adding to the previous question.
All right, thank you very much. There was a research by PwC, and they concluded that AI will generate about 15.7 naira in dollars to the world economy in general. So that tells you that the limitations there are no bounds actually. So when we begin to build, like my colleague said, and we begin to infuse it in different organizations, for instance, in agriculture, it's very important for us to begin to look at how we can bring in AI to improve agriculture for food security and all of that. Speaking about government, regulatory bodies, and I think the government has a body that was established in December 2020, if my memory serves me correct, that handles artificial intelligence and robotics. I think it's NCARE, something like that. They do research and all of those things. But I think we can't do so much regulation if the government don't begin to invest in AI. I saw the news that the government gave out 5 million to about 45 or so AI research companies to develop research. I think that's a step in the right direction. So basically, the government should invest invest in this technology. We don't just want to use the things that are built by the Western world. We don't just want to hear about it or just be consumers of these things. We want to invest in education to know these things. We want to invest in people building this stuff within the African space and within Nigeria as a whole. And then we can now begin to look at how we can ensure that this technology aligns with our values. And I think when it comes to regulation, the government should also take time to do what we call wide considerations. They should collaborate with a wide range of stakeholders in this particular industry, both local within the African space and even international, when putting out these policies so that everything can be in alignment, so that the policies does not stifle the growth of this technology, especially within the African space where it's still very young. I don't know if that's the right word, but we're still at its very infant stage. So basically, I think that's all the things that the government can look at and implement. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Now, Mr. Ekwomadu, there's one aspect of artificial intelligence or even technology in general that people do not exactly talk about. You seldom hear people mention it, and that's the issue of cybersecurity, the issue of ensuring that people have their security intact, people's privacy are not invaded. For people who are very security conscious, you hear them say things like, I'm careful what I put online, I'm careful how I use my device, how I use AI, because somehow it feels like my privacy has been invaded. So what measures can we put in place to ensure that people's privacy is secured?
So I think I'll try back a little bit to the first thing I said, which is education. You can't protect yourself from something that you do not understand. So to a great extent, at least the little that people can do is get educated, first around how best to just keep yourself properly guarded around anything that has to do with technology as a whole, then specifically within artificial intelligence, because regardless of the policies or the measures that are put in place to ensure individuals can be secure, or that there's human oversight around some of what the things that AI can basically regulate or AI can measure or go into, individuals on their own need to also be secured around their privacy. Certain things you cannot give out, and then certain technologies that you have to be cautious around how you interact with them. But I think the major thing we also need to look at, even from a policy and development standpoint, is around how to protect these users. Most people, regardless of call it both ignorance and both lack of education, fall prey to some form of cybersecurity flaw or fraud. And the best way to also keep these measures protected is to ensure that those who are responsible for building these technologies are bearing in mind that cybersecurity needs to play one of the top role in developing these technologies, from the tech stack to ensuring that the process and how people interact with them, to the kind of things that they can tap into. They need to make sure that there are very strong measures that do not allow artificial intelligence to tap into this thing, so we don't leave people vulnerable. And then from a policy standpoint, while bringing stakeholders and doing research and making sure that you're getting all the necessary parties involved to understand and drive the right policies, it's important to understand certain barriers that AI can't let to do certain things. Not because it can't, but because you also want to ensure that there's human oversight and ensure that, okay, people's privacies are not invaded, certain things are not taken advantage of. And also just to make sure that while we're understanding this technology and its scaling, we're also being very cautious. It's very important to ensure that we have caution, because it'd be a lot more dangerous to try and clean up something that has been damaged. But it's a lot more easier for us to put the right cautions and measures to gradually scale up the technology, not because we're afraid, but ensuring that we're being very cautious in development and growth at the end of the day.
Right, I think that's spot on. Thank you so much for that. Also, Mr. Chukwuemeke, talking about AI now, a lot of people have fears that artificial intelligence is here to steal people's jobs, because, you know, AI can be represented in different or almost all the facets, you know, of our economy. So in terms of the implication of future AI on work and employment now, what would you say that the risks are? What would you say the implication is? And how can we use AI to our advantage, as opposed to allowing artificial intelligence or technology, in the wider sense, to overshadow and, replace us at our different workplaces, work levels?
All right, thank you very much. I think basically my colleague mentioned something around the restrictions AI can do. Not that AI cannot do them, but we just put boundaries on them. So I think that will come from the government investing, creating regulations, and being in charge of that. But basically, AI would change the shape of jobs, right? It will change how the job market operates. It will open us to new roles. It will open us to different varieties of roles around the job market. So basically, it's not a fear of, AI is going to take our jobs, AI is going to replace us and all of that. Certainly AI would, take up some roles. For instance, in some organizations, they're already using AI for customer care, or customer complaints, and then the AI response and all of that, basically taking away customer service representatives out of their jobs. But regardless of that, I think basically people should understand this technology, get educated, like my colleague said. Then people should be encouraged to use this technology, because at the end of the day, the people that will be at advantage are the people that understand this technology and use them. That will help us to adapt, because the technology is here to stay, is here to help us grow, is here to improve everything. So basically, let people get to understand the technology, let people get to use them. And going forward, the shape of jobs in the market will completely change. We'll see new roles that we haven't seen before. We'll see different kinds of job opportunities that this artificial intelligence is going to open up. So people should understand it and just keep track with it and grow with the technology as it goes. And it would advance, the job market will be improved, and everybody will be fine at the end of the day.
Right. All right. Lastly, and very quickly, Mr. Ekomadu, we're still talking about the, AI and the risks associated as well as the advantages. Now, in terms of the challenges that we've mentioned, the risks that we've mentioned, do you think that it's safe to say that we need a regulatory body or regulatory measures that can, check the activities to make sure that it is still within the scope? For example, in terms of security, it's not intruding much. The people who produce certain things using technology are still staying within, the measures or the scope expected, and they're not going way over to invade people's privacy. And that's just in terms of security now. But all rounder, how do you think that we can regulate the activities and regulate technology as it progresses?
Absolutely. Without control, what would happen is chaos. Let's look at what's going on within the financial sector. Just imagine if you have no regulation like CBN, what will happen to our value of currency? As interesting as that, most people would say it's easy to tilt towards other solutions. What also happens is regulations tend to also help, not just put barriers around certain things, but also, as you said, put certain checks. And those checks are very necessary, especially because we are developing. It's easy to say we're at its infant stage, but we're literally at the very beginning. We're at the early stages of what we can scratch the surface of what the potential can be for AI. And what that means is for every single ton of how we grow and expand and explore this technology and its solutions and its values, we just need to make sure that we're holding one another, we're having bodies put measures that can help us say, oh, this is where the boundary stops. We can't go beyond this for certain reasons, right? And that's where the human oversight comes in. It's a huge role for us to be able to put in place, not just getting educated, not just staying updated and putting the right policies, but having a human oversight is very essential. And what, of course, that needs to happen, or for that to happen essentially and happen effectively, you need to not just get people who are experts in the field, but get also individuals that that can come from different industries to bring various point of views. Because, for example, if you're looking at how AI can play into art or cultural norms, you want to ensure that it's aligning with the way we see life, the way we live life, and ensure that it doesn't go off rail. So it's important to have those regulations. It's very essential. But of course, the problem with putting regulations is everyone is worried about it being too strong or too forceful or too rigid, that it doesn't give it flexibility to scale. So we also need to put those checks and balances. Not one method is actually going to derive the solution that we look for. So we need to put a mix of all of these things, which is make sure we put in the balance in place and also ensure that while we're also pushing the boundaries of what this can do.
All right, on that note, I want to say a big thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much, Ndu Ekomadu, founder and CEO, Brand Drive, Abuja, Nigeria. And of course, thank you so much, Wago Praise Chukwuike, software engineer, tech enthusiast in Delta State. Thank you, gentlemen, for making this conversation a very rich and insightful one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Many thanks for staying with us on Fafanua Africa. Now, we're still on our creativity series, and if you have been following, you would know that we come with certain guests and we try to discuss creativity from their lenses. We've got visual artists, we've got, adire makers, we had musicians, we had producers, different people to talk about creativity and what it means to them and how they view it from their lenses. But we're discussing the importance of creativity for the youths in this generation. This is a generation where people are looking to harness their creative sides and take advantage of the things that they can do so that they can create more value for themselves and make more money. I mean, everybody wants some cool cash. And creativity is not only a valuable skill, but it's also an essential aspect of personal and professional development. And in this age and time, if you're mixing creativity and the use of social media, you find that it is very advantageous because social media has made it more effective or useful or helpful, so to say, for youths to kind of showcase their work. So unlike those days where you struggle to get people to see what you do, you struggle to get people to notice what you're doing, right now just a post on TikTok can get you as many views, as many followers, and of course as many potential clients as possible. And there's certain advantages to using social media, to take advantage of your creativity. And one of that is the ability to share and showcase your creativity to a wider audience. We have platforms like Instagram, we have platforms like Twitter and TikTok that, support, or rather X, formerly Twitter, that support people who are willing to share their abilities. I mean, how many times have you scrolled and you've seen someone who literally made a painting or a drawing of another celebrity, and the celebrity makes a repost and people gets so many traction on that post? That's the power of social media. So yes, there's the ability of showcasing, your ability, showcasing your talents to the world through social media. There's also the access to a global community. Now, there is a level of, localized attention that you need to get a certain amount of clients, but there's also a level of attention that you get that it takes you global. So you see people doing things in, rural areas, and then they're getting recognized outside of their countries, outside of their regions. They're getting recognized in bigger countries, and then they're getting called for gigs and things like that. So there's also the part of access to a global community. Then the opportunity to build a personal brand as well. You can literally brand yourself and establish yourself as influencers or content creators based on what you do. So you can literally be a thought leader in your field, depending on how vast your community grows, how well your community grows. And then another important aspect of social media is that it also helps people learn a new skill. So imagine a youth who has learned to harness his or her capability and make use of their own creative talent, and then they inspire other youths to learn from them. So you see a lot of people doing master classes, you see a lot of people organizing training sessions for other youths who basically probably don't even know what they want to do but are inspired by what these youths are doing on social media. Yes, so there's also the part of learning new skills. There's also the part of using social media as a platform for raising awareness about some important things or some new things. For example, one of the guests we're going to be talking about very shortly, by the way, we have a guest who is an S-graffito artist. I'm not going to go into the details yet, but when we're talking about S-graffito, not everybody knows about S-graffito. There are lots of different kinds of visual artistry, but not everybody has heard about S-graffito artistry. So this using social media to create, to enlighten people about what you do and about the importance of what you do as well. For example, some years back, not many people appreciated art like you're seeing on the screen. Not many people would know the value of art, but now people are willing to pay through their nose to get these artworks in their living rooms, in their offices, and that's because social media has highlighted the importance of things like that to this generation. And then we also have monetizing creativity through sponsored content, through brand partnerships, and of course, merchandise sales. And this is one of the important aspects, especially for youths now. We're clamoring for more employment opportunities from the government, but before the government steps up to do something, we as youths on the African continent can leverage on what we have and what we can do, to take advantage of the situation, as opposed to just graduating from school and then going home to sit down, waiting for the government to call you, for job opportunities, or hoping that when you go to serve, you're going to get retained at your PPA, what they call place of primary assignment. These are things that you can just, that time you're using to wait to get employment, you can literally just use it to monetize your creativity through social media. And trust me, this age and time, anything can be monetized. I remember the COVID-19 era. Who would have thought that just mimicking artists or mimicking songs without even knowing how to sing or dance will get you money? I mean, at that period, social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram became the new gold because there were people who literally just set up their cameras on their tripod, mimicked people, and got a lot of views, tons of followerships, and before you know it, they started getting brand partnerships, influencing deals, and things like that. So you can basically monetize almost anything as long as it's legal and it's legit. So we are past that era where you sit down and you're looking to build your brand from scratch. You're looking to, get people to see. You're looking to get visibility on your, on your brand. So we're not in that era anymore. Now, basically anything sells. So you can literally monetize your creativity online. And then there's also the aspect of building a portfolio of creative work that can be used to apply for jobs or college programs as well. So it was in those days that they asked for your CV, what they call curriculum vitae. Now it's no longer about CVs. In fact, most people who hire young people, they don't exactly care what your educational background is. What they want to see is your portfolio. They want to see how good you are, what you've done before. And for people who have, soft skills, people who do, for example, public speaking, people who do MCs, event hosts, and voiceovers, and things like that, all people need to see is your Instagram or TikTok or a Twitter page, and then they see that you've done this before, they see the brands you've worked with, and then they're going to reach out to you for a job. So basically, I'm trying to say that gone are those days when we're, creating CVs, creating portfolios, walking from one office to the other to make sure that our brand is visible, to make sure that our work is recognized. Now you just have to learn to harness your social media skills. I think everybody should be a marketer one way or another, because the more you can market your skills online, the better chances you have at getting more opportunities. So these are the conversations that we as youths need to be having now. The importance of creativity for the youth in this generation cannot be overemphasized. Creativity is not only a valuable skill, it's also an essential aspect of personal and professional development. And this is a world that is constantly evolving and seeking new innovations, that is nurturing creativity in youth. And it's more important now than ever. So we have creativity ranging from visual artistry to music to literature and beyond. And creativity literally knows no bound. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to drive positive change. So it's best to, make the most of, of creativity. Hopefully, in our next segment, we're going to go into a conversation about the role of creativity in shaping the future and the impact that it has on the lives of young people today. And trust us, we're not just talking creativity, we're trying to look at creativity through the lens of people. So in our next episode, we're going to be having someone who will be shining the spotlight on, like I mentioned earlier. We're going to be having our graffito artist, visual artist. His name is Clark Toriseju Favor, and he will be telling us what creativity means to him and how he was able to harness the power of social media to showcase his talent to the world. But in the meantime, we want to call it a wrap on Fafanua Afrika. Thank you so much for staying tuned, and we're hoping that you join us in our next episode as we take a look at creativity from the angle of visual artistry as well. And I'm very sure that you will be able to pick something from that conversation. But in the meantime, we have some quotes that we would like to leave with you. All right, thank you so much for joining us on Fafanua Afrika today. It's been a very insightful conversation, especially when we're talking about the world of artificial intelligence. And we're hoping that, the balance is created. And as much as technology has helped us, we're also hoping that the disadvantages does not meet up with us. And we're hoping that the government does something in terms of regulating, the level of privacy that technology has access to. And also we talked about creativity, and we're looking to the next episode where we'll have our graffito artist tell us more about creativity from his own lenses. In the meantime, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I'm Blessings Mosugu, and I've been your host on this very amazing episode of Fafanua Afrika. Thanks for watching. See you again.